just resume the recording.
I think we should give it like maybe 5 more minutes. If nobody comes, then we should start and record, and then we can put it on the YouTube page.
Okay. It's just because I've made it, as Soetie suggested, I've made it quite interactive.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, if it doesn't seem like people are going to come tonight, then I'm happy if you want to reschedule. I mean, the presentation's there. It can be used anytime. So it's up to you guys what you think. I think we should stick to the plan and give it a few more minutes. And we can start. I think it should be okay. Angie, you're on mute. Yeah. So how much have you made it interactive? Like, is there a way we could cut down on that and begin? In fact, because like Christina said, we will be posting on YouTube. I just don't want to. Well, is it a lot? I mean, you asked me to, so I put it in. Yes, yes, I did. Because I was planning to get people to answer questions, and we're gonna plant 10 trees per correct answer. Because we're planting, we're doing a big drive for World Oceans Day at the beginning of next month. So there's quite a lot. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's just a bit weird. Because I normally present, and yeah, it's nice to have people like the young people they're actually speaking to rather than just being recorded. So
Let's give it
not what I was expecting.
to see. Jim, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start now. I'm sure people will be connecting because we had sent out the link to the people who had registered as well. I think it's just the time in the West that is affecting it being too early. But of course, we can interact with the people who are here as well with the team. So are you okay to start?
Yeah, okay. I'll just maybe I'll cut down some of the stuff then as we go.
Yeah. But if we do have people joining in, you can just carry on the way you planned.
Okay.
Berlin, I'm just gonna make you a co-host so that you could admit participants joining in. Perfect. All right, so we'll begin. Hello, everybody. Good morning and good evening to everyone who's joined in for the Be You Powerfully Talk. As you already know, I'm Swati Kandaya from Zahara's Dream. So for those of you who are new around here, let me give you a quick sum up of what Zahara's Dream is, right? So we're a nonprofit organization, a social impact initiative that aims to strengthen the empowerment of women across the world. So today we're especially excited to host this BU Powerfully Talk, being the first from the Southeast Asian region. So we have with us our speaker, Angela Richardson, who is here to empower and inspire young women and men to be change makers by sharing reflections of her own journey. So to tell you a little bit about Angela, she's a passionate journalist and an environmental activist based in Singapore, who is originally half Indonesian, half English. Her journey as an environmental activist began in 2013 when she founded Clean Up Jakarta Day, a citywide cleanup initiative focused on creating awareness around waste management which then transformed into a nationwide initiative, attracting over 1 million volunteers. This led to Angela launching her own social impact nonprofit organization, which is called Indonesia Indah Foundation, which focuses on empowering people to become change agents for the environment through education, awareness, conservation, and disaster relief programs. Her love for writing has also kept her well-rooted in journalism, as she produces content even today about health and wellness, the environment, and human rights for a number of publications, including the South China Morning Post and Eco Business. To top it all, she's a loving mother of 2 young girls and also a passionate vegan, currently building the first plant-based Asia Summit through her foundation, which will take place later this year. Angie, I cannot thank you enough for getting on board with Zahara's Dream to inspire our community. So guys, let's gear up for the session. Yes, we're a little delayed. Sorry about that. So first things first, have your mics muted. We will, of course, open the forum for Q&A as we go at the latter bit of the talk. And throughout the talk, Angie will also be throwing in a lot of questions towards you, for which you are welcome to unmute and engage. And she has exciting prizes for people who get the right answers as well. So this is all too exciting for us to wait any longer. So without further ado, let me welcome our speaker on board and hand it over to her. Yes, let's go ahead, Angie.
Thank you. Thank you, Swati. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you firstly for inviting me to speak. I'm honored to be a part of Zahara's Dream and, of course, supporting your mission of empowering young women and, as I understand it, young men as well around the world. So before I kick off, I just want to kind of have a feeling of where everyone is. So if you can just shout out where you are, that would be great. Who's? I know, Swati, you are in Sri Lanka, right?
That's
You're in
right,
Colombo.
yes. I am in Colombo. So we could just...
I see New York.
You can just, yeah.
There's a couple New York. South Africa, oh, wonderful. And of course, there's also, well, my father is also here. He's in Jogja, in Indonesia.
From in Jogja.
The same activist also.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So my name is Angela Richardson. You can call me Angie. So I just want to, I'll just share my screen. 1 second. Oh, I see Kenya. That's amazing. Jambo. I don't know if you use that. I was in Tanzania a few years ago. All right, hang on. Let's just share. Just a thumbs up if you can see that. All right, so today I am going to share a bit about my journey as an environmental activist, and also try to basically see if I would like you as young people to think about maybe some ideas that you have that you would like to turn into maybe either, it could be an event that you're planning, or an initiative, or even a nonprofit organization or business. And I'd just like to hopefully be able to give you some tools and framework that you could use towards your own ideas, towards inspiring change. And I call this You Are the Change. And the 5 pillars are passion, idea, courage, action, inspiring change. So I'm just going to start with my journey, just a little bit of background so you know where I'm coming from. So this is me. In 1983, I was born in East Java in Indonesia. And I was born, my parents are, yes, that's me. My parents are Phil and Indah Richardson. My mom is from Indonesia. My father is from the UK. And I actually feel like having this mix has been such a well, a great way for me to understand different cultures and have different perspectives. So I've been very grateful for this. And growing up, my mother also had her own charity. So growing up, we've always had charity around us. It's called Little Care. And at the moment, she teaches English to young children in rural areas, as well as providing disaster relief. So there's always been that strong foundation of giving back in our family. And fast forward to the next, I'm going to go all the way up to 1997. So when I was 14, I became a vegetarian. And why this is important is, I guess my empathy towards animals started at a young age, which I believe is one of the reasons why the environmental work started as well. So yeah. If by the way, I would like to give away some, we are doing a big mangrove reforestation program, and on 5th of June, we are planting about 5,000 mangrove trees in the Thousand Islands in Indonesia. And I'd like to give away, so I'll be doing some little questions throughout the presentation. If anyone can guess which one is me in this picture, we're gonna plant 10 trees in your honor. So if you could just put your hand up, or maybe just unmute yourself. And obviously Philip is not allowed to answer this one. So if anyone feels bold. How about you, Swati? Can you guess which one I am?
I'm gonna guess. I mean, it is a little difficult. But I'm gonna guess the girl standing in a black crop.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, that's me. Okay, so we're gonna plant 10 mangrove trees in your honor. So you are my
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm just writing your name down as we go.
Thank you.
So there we go. Yes, you can see that's me, right? 14 years old. And then I moved to the UK in 1998, and I went to boarding school in Cambridge. And then before university, I took a gap year, and I started to travel around the UK working for charities. And some of the charities I was fundraising for were Greenpeace, Amnesty International, Save the Children, Barnardo's. And so I was one of those people, I don't know if you've ever come across them, but you'd be walking down a high street and someone would stop you to see if you have time to talk about their charity, and then, you know, sign up to join and basically pledge $5 a month or whatever it is towards the charity. So that's what I did. And I think this has given me a good foundation as well for going forwards in life for the charity work. And then I studied media technology in London. And so I guess this was more the journalist side. So we did video production, sound design, script writing, web design, art and design as well. And I then moved back to Indonesia in 2009. And ended up honing my writing skills as a journalist and an editor. So I started to work as an editor-in-chief of an expat magazine. And I was at this job for 7 years. And during this job, I wanted to do something that was impactful. So we ran the largest expatriate readership in the country. I think we printed something like 20,000 copies every 2 weeks. And it was just, they were distributed everywhere. And so I knew that I had this tool at my disposal. I knew that I could reach people through this magazine, and I wanted to do something impactful while I was here. And in my spare time, I was traveling a lot around Indonesia, and everywhere I went, we'd be cleaning beaches and mountains as well. So then I became a vegan. So I went from vegetarian to veganism in 2012 with my then boyfriend, now husband, and father of our 2 beautiful girls. And this has been an integral part of all the work that I do now. I feel like it's also part of the plant-based summit that we're creating this year as well. And it's just been, yeah, very important to my family and to, you know, my work in sustainability as well, to understand the impacts that we have from food. And there we are. This is on the top of Kinabalu in Borneo. Okay, so having the magazine and doing the cleaning up all the time, I decided then in 2013 to fund Clean Up Jakarta Day, which was an annual citywide cleanup to raise awareness to the issue of waste and plastic in Jakarta. So Jakarta is home to, I believe, Southeast Asia's largest landfill. It's called Bantar Gebang. It's I have some photos later that I will show you. And the problem of waste is it's a big one there. People still litter. Awareness level is still low. So we started this in 2013 and I ran it for 7 years. And I just have a little video, just want to show you the work that we did.
Clean Up Jakarta Day attempted to raise awareness to the issue of littering.
Jadi Hari Bersih-Bersih Dunia, Jakarta dan 34 provinsi di Indonesia juga tidak ketinggalan ikut kegiatan serentak ini. Bahwa ini kegiatan yang ke-6 kalinya dilakukannya kegiatan Clean Up Jakarta Day. Di sini mulai dari anak kecil hingga orang dewasa juga peduli terhadap sampah yang ada di sekitar lingkungannya ya. Clean Up Jakarta Day. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm amazed today that we actually had 1 million volunteers in Jakarta because the governor of Jakarta sent down a letter to all the heads of the sub-districts to do a cleanup in tandem with Clean Up Jakarta Day. So I'm so happy. And in Indonesia, we had a target of 13 million people, volunteers cleaning up together. And in the world, this is the first time that we are part of a global movement of change, which is World Cleanup Day.
Is my asylum, your smile, my crazy pills, this insanity, it whispers to me that you are.
Terima kasih kepada teman-teman Clean Up Jakarta Day.
You're drawing me in, your love is my skin, I wear it, I swear it's my purest sin. You're my kind of crazy, you're so free.
Sebagai generasi muda gitu kan harus benar-benar aware terhadap lingkungan karena kalau bukan kita siapa lagi gitu kan.
Kita sudah punya lingkungan yang jauh lebih bersih dibandingkan dengan beberapa tahun yang lalu.
Dan memang ini dilakukan serentak di semua negara di seluruh dunia.
And Indonesia probably had the highest number of volunteers from any of the countries in the world. So Indonesia harus bangga tentang itu.
up Jakarta, cleaning up our environment as well. So we hope that we can always do this, not only this time but every time.
Yes, so that was Clean Up Jakarta 2018, and actually we had 1 million volunteers show up for that particular event. So yeah, I mean, it takes about 6 months to organize a cleanup of that scale, and with our small team. So I basically then in 2019 took what I learned from 7 years of organizing Clean Up Jakarta Day and built then Indonesia Indah Foundation. So Indonesia Indah Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and our focus is on environmental sustainability. So we do education programs, conservation programs, which includes the mangrove reforestation program, and awareness, which includes now a national cleanup day called Hari Bersih Indonesia, which is the same idea we did in Jakarta, but on a national level. And we also do disaster relief programs when needed. For instance, during COVID, we were providing food packages to basically the lowest income families in Jakarta. And oops, I'm just going to just a few photos of some of our programs through Indonesia Indah Foundation. So similar to what you just saw with Clean Up Jakarta Day, which I just want to make clear I'm not involved with anymore. But we have now Hari Bersih Indonesia, which is the National Cleanup Day. And these guys are from West Indramayu in West Java, I believe. So we had in our first National Cleanup Day, we had 900,000 volunteers all over the country. So we work with communities, businesses, schools, government organizations, basically to mobilize the masses to take part in raising awareness against littering and the need to reduce our, especially plastic consumption. And yeah, some fun. This is a team in East Kalimantan. And this is just a before and after shot, I believe, in Jakarta. And this is one of the teams in Yogyakarta as well, where my parents live. And we also work with RISI project, they clean the oceans and rivers of waste every day. So it's former fishermen cleaning up the oceans, joining together with us on Hari Bersih Indonesia. It's just a few photos there. And our Tree for Life program, at the moment we're planting mangroves in the Thousand Islands, which is part of Greater Jakarta. And next month we'll be planting 5,000 mangroves. And in August, we have a plan to plant 18,000 mangroves. And mangroves are extremely important. They're pound for pound, they sequester more carbon than any tree on the planet. They're the lungs of the ocean. And I don't know if anyone's seen Seaspiracy, but you know, it's evident that to replenish fish stocks, we need to provide more natural habitat for the fish to basically have nurseries for the juvenile fish to live and grow before they set out to sea. Or these are just some of the pictures of the mangrove plantings that we've done in different islands in the Thousand Islands. So we've had volunteers from all over the world also join us. This is a lady from the US. And our disaster relief program is called the Train of Joy. And we started in a village in West Java called Nyomplong. So Nyomplong village was hit with severe landslides and flooding in early 2020. And everyone was displaced in the village. So what we noticed is a lot of assistance, people give assistance, but there's not much afterthought. So they would just maybe drop a box of food, instant noodles, single serve plastic bottles. So there's no afterthought to what happens afterwards. It's just, okay, we're just donating food, that's it. But our program we're trying to basically educate on environmental sustainability. And we're also trying to help people be able to help themselves. So we set up hydroponic farming for this particular village, which I think had 127 families living in the village. And we also trained, so the men in the village were trained on how to grow vegetables using hydroponics, and they're still doing this to this day while their land is still not able to be used for farming. And this is like, we even did cleanups with the women in the village, and there was a training to show them how to make eco bricks, and basically teaching them, educating them on what's recyclable and what's not, because trash has value and many people don't even realize this. And we created just temporary shelter, and we did a lot of disaster, post-disaster stress relief for children, a lot of games, activities, providing them with food. For us, always, of course, providing vegetarian food. So we provided a lot of protein in the way of tempeh and tofu, and greens and eggs and rice, brown rice, sweet potatoes, these things as well. But also we obviously trying to avoid plastic use. And all the children were given tumblers, and we set up a water filtration system so that they could safely drink groundwater. So that then they can just refill their tumblers rather than, you know, every time going through a single serve plastic bottle. And this was also donations of food provisions as well, which we continued down the line throughout last year. And this is providing them with the seeds for their hydroponic farming. And then we have an education program called Saya Pahlawan Lingkungan, which means in Bahasa, it translates to I am an environmental hero. And we're actually launching an online version of this program in July, which is focusing on ocean conservation. So we've actually created, it's a first of its kind in Indonesia. We created a syllabus for teaching environmental sustainability for all levels of schooling, from preschool all the way up to vocational high school. And you can see here the different books for the different levels. And we worked with the Ministry of Education with this, and we trialed it at 30 national schools in the Greater Jakarta region. And the focus was on food, energy, waste, and water. And this is a bit of a dark photo, but this is some of the teachers. So we actually trained also the teachers of these schools on how to teach environmental sustainability, because it's not part of the syllabus. It's not something they know how to teach. So we took them out, did experiential training, took them to the landfill, taught them how to compost, how to separate waste, and everything from the beginning, and even how to teach with empathy rather than just, you know, doing rote learning. And this is one of the schools that we were working with. And as you can see, all the kids have tumblers. So they're just used to now bringing reusable tumblers to school rather than buying single serve plastic every day. And this is just a screenshot of one of our videos that we created for our online version of this program, which starts in July. Okay, so just to the plant. So I'm actually creating an event in November. So from the 1st to the 4th of November, we are planning the first Plant-Based Asia Summit, which is actually the first of its kind, as it doesn't yet exist in Asia. And our aim is to inspire a healthier and more sustainable Asia Pacific through an online virtual summit. And some of the speakers include, this is just the initial lineup that we've put together. So it includes Dr. Susianto Tseng, who is like I guess he spearheaded the vegan movement in Indonesia. He's a doctor of public health nutrition. And Dr. Vivian Chen, she's a physician and the founder of Plateful Health. We've even got Captain Peter Hemmerstead, who's the captain of Sea Shepherd. So we're actually going to be talking about sustainability and how that all links, of course, with a plant-based lifestyle. And if anyone's here has seen Game Changers, you'll recognize Dotsie Bausch. She is an Olympic silver cycling medalist from the US, and she was in the Game Changers, so she will be one of the speakers. And she's also the founder of Switch for Good, so she talks about switching up dairy for non-dairy alternatives. And Dr. Neil D. Barnard, he's one of the heavy hitters in this sphere, and he's the founding president, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. and Ocean Robbins as well, who is the grandson of Baskin Robbins, you know, the ice cream. So he's a big advocate for the plant-based lifestyle, even though his grandfather had this huge ice cream business, which he actually walked away from. So this is actually going to be a really great event, a 3-day summit. We're going to have networking online. We're going to have cooking demonstrations, even supermarket tours, and some really, really great talks from some of the leaders in health and nutrition and sustainability. So very excited for this one. Okay, so I am now just going to use, I'm going to use Clean Up Jakarta Day as a case study and basically just walk you through the 5 pillars: passion, idea, courage, inspiring change. And as I go through this, I would like the young people in the audience to think about any ideas that you have, your passions, what they are, and maybe start to think about how you can then turn these into a program or a project that can inspire change in your community. So in my case, passion, this means identify what drives you. So I'm a crazy cat lady, but animals, very passionate about animals. And I think, yeah, we touched on this earlier with the veganism and vegetarianism since an early age. Keep calm, plants have protein. And of course, as you probably know, the environment, and particularly waste, is been quite passionate about. So this is actually a photo I took from that landfill I told you about earlier, Bantar Gebang in West Java, just outside of Jakarta. So this is, the situation here is really intense. It's, I think there are 3,000 of these people who they call pemulung, or in translated English, that's a trash picker. So over 7,000 tons of mixed garbage comes every single day to this landfill. And it all just gets dumped, all mixed dumped. And these poor scavengers who live in shanty towns on this landfill go through every day sorting through the trash, trying to find the recyclables. And there's even been landslides, deadly landslides of waste here that have killed people. It's a really bad situation. So as you can see, we have a waste problem there, but of course all over the world. I don't know if you read, there was a recent deep sea submarine in the Philippines. They went to explore one of the deepest trenches in the world, and guess what they found at the bottom of the sea? Trash. They found plastic bags and other plastic items. So yeah, this is something that I identified early on as one of my passions. And then from there, you kind of have to start to think about, okay, what are my options? So I know what my passions are, what are my options? And in my case, I had this experience, so from the cleaning up that we would do every time we traveled somewhere in Indonesia. That's me, my much younger self, cleaning a beach in Ambon, in eastern Indonesia. So every time I would do one of these cleanups, I would find that locals would come up to me and say, "What are you doing? You know, why are you cleaning up?" And I would always say, "Well, because there's so much trash." And they would say, "No, there's not much trash. There's no problem." And I'll say, "Okay, grab a bag, grab a box, whatever you can find. Let's clean up together. And then you tell me afterwards if you still think there's not much trash." And they're like, "Okay." And so in this particular case, there was this lady here on the left. She was manning her stall. And the man on the right was our driver, tour guide, I guess, for the day. And he was really like, no, it's clean. Anyway, so an hour and a half later, we had collected a mountain of garbage, predominantly plastic waste. And the reaction in both of them was just complete shock, complete horror. They couldn't believe it, that it had been under their noses this whole time and they hadn't even seen it. They hadn't made the connection. And, you know, even the driver said, I'm going to petition, lobby my government, my local government every day now for tougher sanctions for people who litter. And I saw this reaction, you know, from not even knowing there's a problem to feeling so strongly about wanting to make a change just from a simple act of picking up trash. And that's where I realized, like, a light bulb, you know, went off, and I said, we need to do something large on this scale in Indonesia because it didn't yet exist. And I'm also a diver. Well, I haven't dived since I had children 4 years ago, but I used to be an avid diver, and every time we did underwater cleanups, we would clean up trash. At underwater dives, we would clean up trash as well. And it was the same kind of reaction from people, like, wow, okay, you know, I have to stop using these products, etc., etc. And this is actually a beach cleanup I did last, what day are we now? This week. This is yesterday. This is a recent cleanup I did yesterday. So this is for a fundraiser for our mangrove planting program. So it's still in my, like, I still enjoy cleanups. It's just something about that act of picking up trash, cleaning a beach or a mountain, whatever. It's quite meditative, actually. And it just helps you to realize, even when you already are quite environmentally aware, and you consider yourself environmentally conscious and avoid plastic, etc. Just doing this regularly makes you, it reminds you, you know, of the things to avoid. Like during this cleanup, it was always the plastic straws, the cigarette butts, plastic caps, these kinds of things. So I took my experience from doing cleanups and took it to the next phase, which is courage. And this is the phase where you need to start to gather information. So in the gathering information stage, I had already known, okay, the idea for me, we're going to do a big scale cleanup in Jakarta, because at the time there wasn't one yet. But how do I do this? It's, you know, it's not an easy thing. So how do I start? So to make it more friendly, I've put it to you in a smiley face. So it's not so scary. So you basically have to just break it down into your challenges, and then from your challenges, you just figure out what the solutions are. So in the case of Clean Up Jakarta Day, one of the main challenges was, how am I going to gather volunteers? So how am I going to gather communities, volunteers, and get this event out there? And how am I going to get it heard? Which can feel like you're herding cats, from the crazy cat lady in me. And here's an opportunity to have 10 mangrove trees planted in your name, if anyone can tell me who this man is. Anyone feeling bold? You can just unmute yourself and just shout it out.
So I think we can, you know, grab someone from the ZD team here. We have a few. So, okay, or Ago, would you like to go for it?
Oh, I don't know. Is that the president?
Yes. Well done. Who was that?
Oh, it's me, Agustina.
Agustina. Okay. So this is Jokowi, President Jokowi, who's the president of Indonesia for 2 terms now. I think this will be his last term. So I'm putting you down for 10 mangrove trees we'll plant in your name next month. Yay! So yes, it's how do we get access to the government, basically, and someone as high up as the president. And funding, of course, for any project that you're about to embark on, one of the main thing is, how am I going to get this off the ground money-wise, and how do you cover your costs? Another challenge is unique selling points. So what is going to make your projects stand out from the others? In the case of Clean Up Jakarta Day, it's okay, you're picking up litter, so what's so good about that? But for us, it was because we were doing it on a city-wide scale, in a city of, I think it's now 17 million people. We're all going to be doing it at the same time, and it's all coordinated. Pickup of trash will be all coordinated and at the same day as well. And to make it even more special, we made it so that everyone had to separate their waste as they were cleaning up, so that they start to learn what is recyclable and what is not recyclable. And so yeah, with the idea of a circular economy, so how to ensure that you're not adding to the problem through our initiative. And the solutions for those challenges. So how are you going to join communities and be heard? In our case, we contacted local communities, we contacted schools, universities, businesses, and we got them all involved. I found that schools were actually a great way because all the schools wanted to be involved in something like this and to get their children involved in cleaning up and caring about the environment from a young age. And of course, use and expand on your network, which is a great, one of the main things that I did, basically knocking on everyone's door, calling everyone that I knew. And the important one is media sponsors, media partners. And so at the time I was running the magazine. So we used the magazine, you know, we would run full pages about our cleanup, but we also had other media partners as well. So they signed up because they wanted to be a part of this event, and their logo would then be on all of our branding and all of our posters. But they then would help to spread the word and get people involved. So getting media partners is really, really helpful. And of course, social media. I think Indonesia has like one of the highest Facebook and Twitter users in the world. And then, so getting government support. So basically I harassed everyone I knew who may be able to help. You know, back then I was 28 and, you know, very sort of, I was just ready to knock on anyone's door. So we wrote letters to the government to basically get support. And they did help in the end. They put us in touch with the Ministry of Environment. And we've been working with the Ministry of Environment now since 2013, and we have a really close connection. So a lot of the events we do, we work together with the government. And for me, it's great because it just means we really get to reach more people, and especially the people who really need educating on these matters. And funding, if anyone is feeling, you know, this is really difficult, and actually, if you have a good idea, people will come. So I always say, if you build it, they will come. It's like our motto in my team. You know, we could be a few weeks out from an event and stressed out because the funding hasn't come in. But as long as your idea is solid, as long as the impact that you are planning to make on your community or your environment or whatever it is, it could be a business, as long as you have put all of your points and everything into a sponsorship kit, and you outline your aims, your goals, your vision, and how you're going to do it and why, I just, more often than not, the sponsors will come. And of course, we built a website and the sponsor kit, and then I just started to approach sponsors, and they just started to come out of the woodwork. They were like, yes, we want to be a part of this event. That's awesome. And the unique selling point, as I mentioned earlier, it was that we're doing this all together, all on the same day, and we're going to be separating our trash at the same time into recyclable and non-recyclable waste. And so we work with local communities. As I mentioned, we engage the government to ensure trash is collected from each location promptly. And then the waste, so basically we would have meetings beforehand, days of meetings with the government, because Jakarta is a big city. And they would have all the heads of all the sub-districts from the Ministry of Environment show up to the meetings. We would present them with a list of all the teams that we have in each location. And they would ensure that on the morning of the cleanup, the trucks were already standing by to collect the waste. And the relationship was so good with government that it was just so well organized. The waste, then the recyclable waste that people collected was then further sorted, and the recyclable items went to the nearest waste banks. So then they processed it further, and the recyclable items were recycled. So actually reducing the amount of waste that ended up at the landfill. And we always lead by example. So we always do not use single-serve plastic in any of our events. So in that video I showed earlier where we had the closing ceremony, we never serve anything that's made of plastic. So all the bottles from Coca-Cola were glass bottles, just like in the good old days. You drink your glass bottle and you return it. And even, you know, working with sponsors who are now, you know, selling plastic bottles and being there to remind them that this way actually works. for me, another great way of educating businesses who are actually part of the problem. And also even the coffee cups that you saw, they were all biodegradable. So everything we would make sure if it's going to be waste, it has to be either 100% recyclable or biodegradable. And then these banners that you see in the background here, we would do competitions with our volunteers and get them to actually create things out of the banners. And these are some of the really creative, some of the really creative things that our volunteers made, like bags. The one in the middle here is actually a rain jacket, which is so cool. And other really nice tote bags, all made from the banners. So that's courage, and then it comes to action. So this is the implementation part. And these are just, I guess, what would you call it? Just different ideas here of things to do when you implement your ideas. And the main one here is delegating. So in the case of Clean Up Jakarta Day, it's impossible to run all these sites on your own. So how we did it was each team had a team leader, and the team leader was then the one who was in charge of their team. They were in charge of recruiting their own volunteers. We would be their point of contact. We provided them with all the kit that they needed for the cleanup, and we organized the collection of trash from their site. So that's how we were able to manage such a big cleanup. So we weren't actually responsible for the volunteers of each location. Get help. So yeah, you can't do everything by yourself. So a great one is you should be recruiting volunteers and surrounding yourself with like-minded people. So in our first Clean Up Jakarta Day, this is how it was: a small amount of gloves and sacks. But and this was our security guard who was helping us as well to sort through thousands of sacks. But for Hari Bersih Indonesia last year, we actually had a hall. So we were sponsored a ballroom in a hotel, and that's where we had to do all the sorting. So it went from a small room like this to a ballroom-sized hall where, you know, we had dozens of volunteers sorting through sacks and gloves for the volunteers. And then, so Slank is they're a really famous rock band in Indonesia. I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be. It could be like Metallica. So they're older, but still relevant. And I had a connection to these guys. And so they became our not mascot, but they became one of our ambassadors. And they really helped us to spread the word and springboard this event in Jakarta. And the media would come flock to see them and talk to them about why they were involved in this event. And just a few other things, just little things like just to remember how, no matter how difficult it can seem and stressful, that everything is going to be all right. And of course, the sponsorships. We had a lot of sponsors even from the beginning. And even now when we do our national cleanup event, we find that companies they want to be involved. And media coverage as well. And endorsements. Here's another chance to win 10 trees planted in your honor. If someone can tell me who this man is, who he was at a film screening in Jakarta. I just came up to him and said, because he's an activist as well. I said, would you please wear our Clean Up Jakarta shirt made of 100% recycled bottles? I see someone was unmuting. Verlaine, yes, do you know who this is?
He's a British actor. I very much like him. I forgot his name. I'm actually looking for it. I can't find it, but he's amazing.
You're right, British. Yes, he's a British actor.
I'll let someone else find the name perhaps until I remember. Thank you.
No, I'll let you have it, Verlaine, because you knew he's a British actor and you liked him, but his name is Jeremy Irons. So we're going to find it, in your honor.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's just a case of being bold, and he endorsed it. So he had this event. Jokowi was there, the president was there, and I was in the back. And he went up on stage wearing the T-shirt that I had given him and was talking about, because he had a film about trash. It's called Trashed, And he even said to the president, he looked him in the face and he's like, why is not more being done, you know, and wearing the t-shirt. So yeah, that was just a proud moment for me. So it's just about being bold and just taking the opportunities when they come to you. And inspiring change. So this is the phase, I guess, where we evaluate. We evaluate what we have achieved and how we can do better. So the changes that Clean Up Jakarta Day brought actually were pretty great. So we were raising awareness to the problem of waste and the need to recycle, the need to reduce as well how much waste we create. And we were basically offering people solutions through this experience. And then we also inspired, so a lot of our volunteers after this experience, they would petition against the use of single-serve plastic straws or single-serve cups, many things. Actually, since we've even had we've seen plastic bags been banned in Bali, and other initiatives against plastic bags around Indonesia too. And volunteers also, of course, a lot of our volunteers would then start to recycle at home or even at school or in their businesses. And it just comes down to the firsthand experience they received, which is basically that they say no to plastic and single-serve plastic in the first place, because they see from picking up the trash how much of a problem it is, and then they resolve to do something about it. And so how have we continued since Clean Up Jakarta Days? From 2013 to 2018, since then we have then built the National Cleanup Day, Hari Bersih Indonesia, which has mobilized hundreds of thousands to become change makers for the environment all over Indonesia. And because of COVID, we had to stop, we had to postpone last year's event, but we did continue this year in February. But since then, we've also started to do a lot of online events. So we host a lot of webinars and special online events together with the Ministry of Environment. We also will be doing one with the Ministry of Education in July. Actually, next Saturday, we're hosting a live streaming event with the Ministry of Education and the Governor of Jakarta as well. And that's for World Environment Day. So we've had to pivot and make a lot of changes. So, how can we, this then takes me to my final point of what can we all do to reduce our environmental impact? And just a reminder, I'm sure everyone is aware, but just the simple things. So I know most people are aware of the 3 R's, but I like to call it the 4 R's. So it's refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. So refuse plastic bags, refuse plastic straws, refuse plastic cotton buds, like opt for the paper ones instead. Just little things like that, they all make a difference. And start cleanups in your community. Start little cleanups with your friends, with your family, and share what you find with others. Share it on social media, share it anywhere, just so that others can see that, you know, actually there is a problem. Like even here in Singapore, when we did our cleanup this week, and people weren't aware that Singapore actually has litter and plastic on our beaches. And yeah, it's a problem, it's a global problem. And then other things we can do are choose natural products. So natural soaps, natural deodorants, natural shampoo, and natural toothpaste. Because of course, all the chemicals actually leak into the environment, and it's not good for the environment. It's actually not good for our health as well. And of course, opt for slow organic fashion whenever you can. There's so many clothes that my mother has given me from the 70s, the 80s that are still great condition because they were slow fashion. Whereas nowadays, things are made so fast and things don't last. And also, of course, we have the problem of the chemicals that are used in the food. Of course, the problem with labor, not fair labor. This is a whole other section. So that's the human rights issues as well. So we always should try to opt for slow fashion and choose organic produce. So this is one we'll be covering, of course, at the Plant-Based Asia Summit in November. But the chemicals that are being put on the vegetables, the fruit that we eat, are such a big problem and for the environment. And if you can opt for organic produce whenever you can, then that's the best solution for your health as well as the environment. And eat, I'm not saying that everyone needs to be vegetarian or vegan, but just eat less meat, eat less fish and dairy. If you've seen Seaspiracy, the documentary on Netflix, which if you haven't, you really, really should, one of the most important documentaries of our time, try that. They have a no fish for 1 year challenge, because it actually only takes 2 years for fish stocks to rebound. So if you can try not eating fish for 1 year, that's also amazing. And say no to fast food chains. Like, as you know, at the moment, I think McDonald's has been going through an issue around the world because of people have been saying you need to go more plant-based. I've actually boycotted McDonald's since I was 14 years old, when I turned vegetarian. So definitely fast food, not good for your health, not good for the planet. The amount of rainforest they cut down to be able to produce the amount of meat is just, it's not sustainable. And switch to bamboo paper. Bamboo toilet paper, bamboo facial paper. This is a great one because bamboo is a sustainable resource rather than other trees, and plant trees. So if you would like, we have a, we plant, at the moment, we're focusing on mangroves because, as I mentioned earlier, they sequester more carbon than any other plant, any other tree on the planet. And we're starting, we just started this program, but if you would like, you can always join our Tree for Life program or any other tree planting program in the world. They're all amazing. And then spend time in and connecting with nature every day. This one is important because I feel like we are so disconnected from nature, and that's the root of all our problems. When we actually sit in silence in nature under a tree, hug a tree, feel the connection with the tree, it's really important, because then you realize, you know, we are all one. Like, we need to look after the environment, we need to look after the planet, and otherwise we're just hurting ourselves. So it's really important to make that connection every day, and of course lead by example. So you cannot, you know, be saying, oh, I'm an environmental activist, but then, you know, I eat meat, I don't, you know, I use single serve cups, I, you know, love plastic straws, anything ridiculous like that. You need to be leading by example, and then that way people will trust you and follow and support your work, which is important. So those are just a few things. There are so many things. I'm sure many of you could think of so many more. But I think we're running short of time. So I will just go to my final slide. So this is one I showed to a lot of kids actually many years ago. So your comfort zone is the little circle on the left here. And the magic happens when you're way out of your comfort zone. Always is the case. So when you're doing something incredible that is challenging, that's pushing yourself to the max to try and solve problems, create solutions to the world's problems, and you're way out of your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. So yeah, I'll just end on that. And if you would like to reach out to me, that's my Instagram handle. You can contact me there, and these are our websites. So there's plantbasedasia.org, feedearthspirit.com. That's my platform for where I bridge food with the environment and consciousness, and our foundation's website, Indonesia Indah Foundation.org. So thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Angie. I think that, you know, that talk, that presentation was just eye-opening and just so much content to learn from. I think it was amazing. I think everybody who's going to watch this also later on our social media platforms are going to be really, really appreciative that we actually had you on board and did this, because it's amazing how you really went back to, you know, your childhood interests and how little things from the very beginning, like, you know, led to where you are at the moment, and how you spoke about, you know, the work you've done, which is again great with your foundation, And then you know, the best thing out of everything was the step-by-step guide to actually, you know, turn an idea into, you know, a working initiative. I think not just in this context as an environmental activist, but in anything, any context, for everyone, it was just really, really eye-opening and insightful, and you went into every depth, every detail. And I think we're really, really grateful that you spoke so. And also, I actually had a question to like ask you, okay, what are the practical things, everyday things that we could do to protect the environment and to be an ally, which you also covered in your last couple of slides. So amazing, amazing. This is just great. So since we, yes, like you said, we, you know, ran a little late to start as well. So maybe we could give 5 more minutes if anybody has questions. Just, you know, feel free to unmute yourself and bounce it over to Angie, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer. Yeah. Or I actually have one question. So if we'll see if anyone's interested to throw a question this way.
Be bold. We'll plant another tree, 10 trees in your name.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let me just throw it up to you. Okay. So by being, you know, involved in like such civic engagements, right? Like volunteering and stepping out of your comfort zone and, you know, getting involved in bigger cause and initiatives, how can this help an individual develop, you know, their social skills and like their personality? How will, you know, being involved in these initiatives sharpen their personality as a whole?
Wow, that's a very good question, Swati. Thank you. I can't even sort of put a price on that, or how it would help so much. Even if, you know, you just decide that you would like to volunteer once a month, anything that you're passionate about. It could be a soup kitchen, helping the homeless perhaps, or maybe it could be, like I said, it could be a cleanup, anything that you're passionate about. Meeting people who are doing the same thing, being part of a greater cause, it just helps you on so many levels. And one of them also is connection. Well, firstly, connection with other people. And then also the potential connections that you make through these. So on a sort of networking level, it's also very important, because you could meet, who knows, you could meet a friend of someone, or someone that could introduce you to your next sponsor or investor, whatever it is. So on many levels, it's a really good thing to do. And of course, for yourself, for whatever you're passionate about, to feel that you're involved in something that's bigger than you, it's also great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So anybody else for questions?
Hello, Swati.
Hi, okay.
Oh, I don't have a question, but I just want to thank Angie for such an amazing presentation. I've actually learned a lot, and I'll also try my best to be involved in environmental programs. There are so many where I'm coming from, but I've never been interested to be involved. But I know now I have the motivation to be involved in such projects. Thank you.
That's so great.
Amazing.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. So anyone else, or we could actually wrap it up for today and head on with you know, the rest of the day, rest of the night for Angie actually. So a huge thanks to you again, Angie, for joining us despite the time difference and, you know, taking time to really, you know, take us through this very, very elaborated presentation, which like I said, is going to impact a lot of lives. So yeah, from the entire team of ZD, I would like to, you know, extend my appreciation and gratitude for actually being here and, you know, speaking to us. And beyond today, you will be also inspiring a lot of other youngsters. to become environmental activists and be change makers in whatever the fields that they're passionate about. So thank you so much, Angie, and thank you everybody for taking the time to be a part of today's talk. We really hope you found it inspiring and useful. Do connect with us if you have any questions. Maybe you can even, just DM us on our social media handles. I will definitely make sure to, take it back to Angie and maybe revert to you if there's a necessity. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Angie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody. All right. Have a great day ahead and have a good night, Angie.
Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.